And we are about to roll into the new day, y'all. And we're just at 53 hours, almost 54 hours of fasting. Just to check in, this is Dr. Dwayne Wood, y'all. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health, your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new year, new you. Yeah. We're fasting. And this is just a quick check-in to let you know where I am. Man, I'm feeling good. At this juncture, right? We're at the 53 and a half hour mark. And just wanted to come on and say hello for those of you who are out there who are fasting with me, those of you who are working your way up to these 24-hour fasts. Our goal here is to have our patients with type 2 diabetes, our clients, our customers, our viewers, our community who adults with type 2 diabetes, we're putting that in remission. That's where we are reversing, and we're working on decreasing the medication, getting rid of some of the medication. And one of the big tools that we're using, that's right, is the tool of fasting. So we're 2 days in, y'all. Over 2 days yet now, and we are in the final stretches of the fast. As you know, on a weekly basis, I've been doing a 72-hour fast, and we're a little over 2 days into the fast, and just right now feeling very, very excited about where we are. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about autophagy, but let's go ahead and let's do a little check-in before we get to that. Physically, as I always say, physically, we're going to talk a little bit about that. My mental clarity, my emotions. This landscape has been traversed, right? We're moving through lots of different things. Physically, for this week, this fast that I've done over the last few days, for the first time, I felt a little bit more hungry than I have before. As I mentioned at the beginning of our check-ins, I think that's because I ate a salad. That was what I had right before I started the fast. The first several hours, of course, not too bad, but as I got into that 12-hour, 13, 14-hour mark, I felt a little bit more hungry, and of course that went away by the time I got into my 18 to 24 hours and 36 hours, and then today a little bit, I felt a little hungry with a little bit of indigestion, and this time felt a lot more gassy than I did before. But other than that, you know, I'm doing well. Of course, as I moved around and as I've been seeing food at the office, at the hospital, my brain has been telling me, hey, you need to get something to eat. Remember those things, the reasons that we eat, right? Remember those triggers. We eat because of habit, we eat because of emotions, we eat because of access, and we eat because of time. In fact, why don't I do this? Let me see. I'm going to pop over here really quickly, and I'm going to pull that graphic up because I want you to see that again, because as you see things, sometimes they become a little bit more solidified in our mind, in our brain. So let me go ahead. I'm going to pull that up. Let's see, where did we go? Okay, here it is. Because I want you to actually see this graphic. And remember, these are the four things, the four reasons, or the four triggers that pull us to eat. So let me go ahead and pull that up really quickly. There we go. Okay. All right. So food triggers, the 4 food triggers, right? Remember that acronym, that model that we talked about, HEAT. So habits, emotions, access, and taste. Habits, emotions, access, and taste. And those are the things that kind of drive us towards eating. And today, my brain was telling me, hey, it's that time of the day, right? Everybody else around me was eating. I was feeling a little bit more tired, and I'll get to that here in a minute when I start talking more about emotions. Feeling more tired, and there was a lot of stuff around me. Okay, I shouldn't say a lot of stuff, but there was food around me. I did go down to the cafeteria. Notice I said before that I don't go to the physician's lounge, but I did go down to the cafeteria to get some of my unsweetened tea. And when I got down there, they only had one bottle. I usually get a couple of bottles to get the day started. They only had one, and so I had the one. I drank it, and then there was all this food hanging around. Okay, and then of course taste, right? So we remember what the taste is like. So that's kind of the physical aspect of what was going on over the last couple of days. A little bit more, like I said, a little bit more. I don't want to say pressing, but a little bit more hungry than I felt before. Now, in terms of my energy, I don't think it was fluctuating because I was fasting, but a little bit more because I had not. I've been up late, like you see, I'm not up now, and for me, when I'm not rested, that sometimes will pull me towards eating. Okay, so I'm not struggling right now, but my brain is telling me, hey, you may need to get something to eat. But I've got, what do we got? About 18 hours, so 12 plus another 6. Yeah, 18 hours left to go. All right. Mental clarity. There's some focus that usually occurs with people as they get into the fast, and particularly as they get into more extended fast. So that clarity comes as the fasting progresses. It's almost like a veil is lifted from the mind, and it's almost like you are now more aware of some of the other things that are going on, right? So you don't have the struggle with the food, particularly if you've gotten past those first 18 to 24 hours. You become more aware of the surrounding. You become more aware of the things that may be pushing you to eat. You become more aware of those issues, and so there's a little bit more focus. Emotionally, it can be a period of struggle, right? Particularly if you are tired, particularly if, like right now, I don't want to say I'm bored as I gotten to the end of the week. I typically don't go into the office on Friday, and so as I get to the end of Thursday, right, I didn't have a project that I needed to do. Usually on Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, there's something that I'm doing before I get on and talk with you guys, and I didn't have that project this evening, so I wasn't busy. Remember, one of the things that we talked about in terms of getting you through some of the challenges, if you will, of the fasting is making sure that you are busy, making sure that you are, I don't want to say busy, but you have things that you need to do, things that you are working on. And I didn't have that today. And so that was a little challenging this evening as I got to the end of the day and the end of the week, right? Some things that we want to always make sure that we're hydrated, right, as we get into the fast, and even as we move through the fast. You want to make sure you're hydrated. You want to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, that you're getting good rest. And as soon as I get off of here, I got to go to sleep because I need to get some rest to help me get through the rest of what's going to be happening here over the next several hours as we get through the fast. Okay, and then as always, I do have my monitors that we're going to show. So let me hop over and make sure that we see those. I do have my monitors that are sitting over here. We're going to be showing those here in just a little while, and what my numbers are, so that you can see where I am. All right, good. All right, and I do see that we have Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer, how are you? Jennifer is up with us. Jennifer from Nebraska. She said, howdy, it's late, but saw you on. Oh, thank you for stopping by. She said, this week fast has been a struggle. I started Tuesday evening, but ended up eating yesterday late afternoon. Restarted fasting late yesterday. Yep. So and Jennifer, thank you for putting that in there. As you guys know, and you remember that almost a month ago, I was in Jamaica, and I was going through a fast, and I ended the fast early because I was in a social environment, right? So I was with some friends, and we were getting reacquainted and hung out. So just like Jennifer did, you have to listen to your body. You have to listen to those things that are around you. There are going to be cases and times when you say, hey, I'm going to end this fast now. I'm going to interrupt the fast. I'm going to take care of whatever it is I need to take care of. And then I'm going to come back and restart the fast, right? So oftentimes, one of the things that happens is we try to push through that fast, and that sets us up for failure. So just like you did, Jennifer, Ray, hand claps to you for recognizing that you needed to interrupt that fast. My hat's off to you. And that really sets us up in the future to be successful. Because if we have a very difficult fast, the body remembers that, the brain remembers that. And as we move into the future and try to say, okay, I'm going to go back to the fast, the body's like, oh no, we're not doing that again, because that was a miserable time. That was not a really fun. So the fast should really be a time when you are able to focus, where you may be able to have some introspection, and you are doing the things that need to be done to help you to be successful. And so we want to make this as, I don't want to say easy, but as simple as possible. Okay, so glad that you took the time, Jennifer, to do that. All right, so let's hop over and let's take a look at some of the numbers that we've got going. And here is this is my Dexcom, and my Dexcom right now says that my blood sugar is 75. My Libre says that the blood sugar is 66. And as you know, both of those, well, not always, but often they will show us different numbers. And right now we are, let's see, 75 and 67. So just actually within 5 of each other, right? 65, 67. So was it 5, 6, 7 within 7 of each other? Okay, awesome. All right, so that's what those numbers are saying. Let's take a look at our meters now. We're gonna hop over and take a look at those guys. And I do see another. Someone else just popped off. Push me, wait. He says 53 hours. Nice. Good discipline, bro. Hey, thank you for coming through. Let's get you a hand clap and get you some music to say welcome to the channel. Awesome. All right. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at what these monitors are saying. I have my glucose monitors in addition to my Libre, as you see there. So let's go ahead and get the strip. And I dropped that one. All right, so let's get the strip, and this is a contour that we're going to be using here. So I've got the contour. Let's look at the blood sugar for the Keto Mojo, and we'll just have those right on top of each other so we can see those. This is going to be my this is going to be the strip that I use to check my ketones, and my Lancets. Let's get that there, and we'll get a drop of blood. Oh, that was a nice one. Sometimes, if you're not careful, you'll get just a little measly drop, and that doesn't work well. Okay, so let's see what those guys are showing. All right, so look at that. My contour says that blood sugar is 65, and the Keto Mojo says blood sugar is 61. The Libre that you see on the screen there with the red is 66. And then, of course, my Dexcom was 75. So that's the Dexcom is a bit different from the others. Let me go ahead and get my keto strip in. We'll get our drop of blood on that. Okay, and let's see what that shows. What do you think is going to be? So we've been fasting for about 53, almost 54 hours. So I think it might be like 2.3, 2.4 maybe. 2.3. Look at that. Okay. I'm getting good at this, guys. All right. And while that's there, let's go ahead and let's pull over. Let's actually start with, this is our contour. So contour is showing 65. And this is just the app that pulls the information in. And then here is my Keto Mojo. And the Keto Mojo is showing, actually, let me go ahead and sync that so we can pull those numbers in. And then we'll look at the graph on the Keto Mojo to see what that looks like. All right, so here we are. So here's our ketones. Ketones 2.3, our glucose is 61, and our keto gluco index is 1.4. So a great place for us to talk, and I always go through this. When we talk about ketones that are less than 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to about 1.5 is considered nutritional ketosis, and above that 1.6 and above is considered therapeutic ketosis. Okay, so when we are fasting, or when we are working on being in ketogenic diet, or in ketosis, or when we're fasting, as we're trying to get our body to switch over from burning glycogen and glucose to burning ketones, we want the ketones as high as possible. And when I say high as possible, we want it above 0.4, right? We want it 0.5 or higher. That doesn't mean that we want it, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. As I've been fasting for the 72 hours, my ketones have actually gone up 4 or 5. But if you're kind of going through a ketogenic diet, you don't necessarily have to have a ketones that are up in the 3, 4, 5 range. That's occurring for me because I am fasting for an extended period of time. If we look at the graph that you see there on the screen, and let me do this a little differently so we get a bigger number. You'll see as the blood sugar. Now the blood sugar is the tan line that you'll see there. That's on the graph, and then the ketones are the kind of turquoise-ish, greenish, whatever color that is, graph. And you see as the blood sugars are high, the ketones are low, and as the blood sugars begin to fall, the ketones go up, and then at some point the ketones and the blood sugars cross, and the ketones go high, and the blood sugars go low. Right? So that tells me that my body is now burning ketones, is using ketones for energy. We've switched over from burning sugar and burning glycogen to burning ketones. The thing that, if you remember, as we talked about the various stages, right? The first 24 hours is when the body is burning glycogen. The glycogen that is burning, that lasts for about 24 hours. So when you finish eating, right, for the first 8 hours, 16 hours, your body is still processing, digesting food. 16 to 24 hours is burning glycogen. So we have not switched over the ketones yet. So 24 hours to 48 hours, we're in the ketones. So we're burning fat, and so we're using ketones. And then as we get to the 48 to 72 hours, now we get to this idea of autophagy. So autophagy. It's a great place for us to talk a little bit about autophagy, right? So autophagy, what is it? This is the body's ability. This is this thing that we talk about where the body begins scavenging, if you will, reclaiming those unused, broken, miscellaneous components. It is a regenerative process that occurs at the cellular level. So think of it kind of like recycling. So as your energy goes down, that is from glucose, you're not having glucose anymore. We get into those extended periods, then the body begins breaking down unused cells and components, and it begins taking that, and it doesn't throw it away. It begins rebuilding. So it takes that, it converts some of the amino acids to building blocks. It converts some of the other things that may be there to sugar, so you can have energy, right? It begins rebuilding. And so that process happens during the process of autophagy. Now, this autophagy occurs definitely during fasting, but there are some things that you can do to enhance and to put autophagy into effect. Now, the phrase autophagy, so auto meaning self, phagy meaning eating. So basically we're eating ourselves, right? So we're reclaiming, we're eating up those broken, discarded, unused parts of the body. Now it sounds a little scary, but it's actually just a detoxification, right? That's the process that the body undergoes to maintain health and to prevent disease. The beautiful thing about autophagy is that those broken, discarded pieces of cells and protein that's in the body, they're usually just floating around, and they are usually just in the way, right? So sometimes the body is creating other components, and there's some mistake that happens as it's creating a protein. So misfolded protein is what those are called, and they're just hanging around, right? There could be pathogens that are out there. There could be other parts of the body that need repair, and so the body uses these components and it begins repairing itself, right? And that is a beautiful thing that happens. And this is kind of think of it kind of like spring cleaning, right? So you're moving whatever doesn't serve us, whatever is not there, and it's actually repurposing it and using this material to enhance its functioning. Right? This is a vital cellular process. It's vital for health, and it's been thought and shown, right? There's studies that are going on that say, hey, this may be a great way that the body begins to work on longevity. So not just health, but longevity, and also our immune system, right? So this was discovered fairly recently in the course of history. Right. As a matter of fact, I think in 2021 or 2020, someone won the Nobel Prize in physiology. Right. Or maybe was it 2020? Actually, no, it's earlier. It's 2016, but relatively recently, right, compared to other things. Autophagy occurs, as we talked about, in fasting. Right. So you can induce autophagy by fasting. When we fast, the decreased energy, as I mentioned, decreased energy intake forces the cells to turn inward, and as it begins burning fat, it also now, as we get into those extended fasts, it begins working on this scavenging process. This can also happen if you're in ketosis. You don't have to have an extended fast, but if you're doing like a ketogenic diet, the same process begins working there as well. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily have to be an extended fast. Extended fast will push you there faster, but if you're in ketosis, right, ketogenic diet, for example, that can cause autophagy to begin peaking, right? This is, like I said, particularly beneficial when we talk about rejuvenation and when we talk about health. So, if that makes sense, yes, drop that in the comments. Say, yes, I get that. Also, because we're scavenging and we're reclaiming and we're getting rid of those broken, discarded, maybe misshapen cells, it decreases inflammation and decreases the likelihood of neurodegenerative. Now, neurodegenerative, these are those diseases of the brain, of the mind. Things like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, right? Those are called neurodegenerative diseases. And it's also linked, like I said, to longevity. It's linked to critical processes in the body, defense against various diseases, including, y'all, including cancers. That's the beauty of this. Notice we're talking about several processes in the body that can be enhanced, improved through the use of autophagy. So fasting, being in ketosis. So what are some other ways that we can push the body into autophagy? Number one is regular exercise. Physical activity can trigger autophagy, promoting this cellular cleanup that we're talking about, this regeneration. Limiting processed foods, right? So a diet high in processed foods can short circuit autophagy. Right? And so the body doesn't go through that process, or it does not do it as readily or as heartily, I guess is a word, as it normally would. So making sure that you are filling your body and filling your diet with whole foods, nutrient-dense foods. This supports the process of overall well-being, and it can promote autophagy. Getting adequate sleep. So not only is that good for fasting, right? Getting you ready for fasting, but getting adequate sleep is an essential part of autophagy, because the body regenerates, the body rejuvenates, the body reclaims during sleep, right? When you get good, proper, restorative sleep. So those processes are enhanced during that process, during that time. Okay. I'd like to hear from you. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on autophagy, and whether learning about the cellular process might change how you sleep, how you eat, how you fast, how you work towards putting your diabetes in remission, how you work towards getting off of some of this medication, right? So it's a great process for what we are doing here. Remember, we're talking to adults with type 2 diabetes. How do we reverse diabetes, get you off of medication, put your diabetes in remission? Awesome, awesome. All right, so now let's take a look at, I have over here to my side the graphs from my Dexcom and my Libre. Let's go ahead and let's pop up our Dexcom. And so here we are, and I want to look at, so there is our average blood sugar for the last 2 weeks. All right, you'll see that there. It's 120. And let me turn my mouse on so you can see that a little better. Okay, here we are. So you'll see that there 120 is our average blood sugar for the last 2 weeks, 14 days. I'm in target, which is a target of 70 to 180, 99% of the time. And my glucose management indicator is 6.2. So this thing is saying, hey, if this continues, we may indicate, or we can't indicate, that your A1C should be around 6.2. Now, I had my A1C done last Thursday in preparation for my doctor's visit that is coming up, and we're going to actually do a show where I show you the comparison between my blood work that I had done back in, let's see, when did I have that done? That was back in, I think, December, and compare that to where we are here just a week ago. Okay, so that show's coming up, so keep an eye out for that. Let's go ahead and let's take a look now at some of these graphs, because I want to take a look at where my blood sugars were prior to starting the fast, and then as we got into the fast. So let's go back a little bit and let's take a look at Tuesday. So Tuesday started the fast right here about 6 o'clock, right? So my blood sugar at that time was about 117 at 6 o'clock. So right there. And then you'll see a little spike that goes, and you see the blood sugar start to go up here. And that spike happens because right as I was getting ready to go into the fast, right, I ate my last meal. And that spike shows up right around, I guess the height of the spike goes right about 7 o'clock, and that goes up to about 152 was the highest. And then as I move into, that was Tuesday, and then I move into Wednesday, and all Wednesday, you'll see the blood sugars basically kind of dropping as we went through the rest of the day. All right, so my first full day of fasting, and then into Thursday, which was today, you'll see that we started out, I don't know, maybe right about 100, maybe. Yeah, so 90, 95, 98, 103. And right here, you see that gap. I had to change my monitor. Right, I had to change my monitor there. And then blood sugars continue, 107, 109, and then continue to fall as we got into the rest of the evening, right? So that's what I would expect from fasting. And then let's hop over and let's take a look at, this is now the Libre, and you'll see for the Libre, similar graph or table, graph. So here is my target, and this says that I'm in target 87% of the time. And as you know, the Libre tends to be lower than the Dexcom, and you see, so it says that I've had about 13% of my blood sugars have been low. Okay, And let's scroll down and let's find Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we could take a look at those numbers. And so let's see the 20. All right. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Here we are. So here I am. And so right around 6 o'clock is when we started. Right. So right about here. And then 24 hours later, we're looking at that 24 hours. You'll see my blood sugar is just hovering right around 70. And then at 48 hours, which is Thursday, you'll see that starting, I don't know, maybe, what time do you think that is? About 4 o'clock in the afternoon, right around here. My blood sugars were low. And then for the rest of the evening, my blood sugars have remained below 70. So that's why that graph right there is red. And so that's what we're seeing there on the Libre. Okay. So questions that you may be asking is, hey, wait a minute. If your blood sugars, if you haven't eaten, right? So if you haven't eaten, let's go back to this guy. If you haven't eaten, why aren't your blood sugars lower? And why don't you feel low? Well, one of the reasons that the body's still able to function is that we've switched over now from burning carbs and burning glycogen, and I'm burning in my body, I'm burning ketones, or burning fat, and the fat, or breaking down fat's being converted to ketones, and the ketones is what the body's using. So it's kind of like that hybrid car where you can burn gas or use the battery. And so my body has switched from burning gas, essentially, carbs, glycogen, and it's now using the battery, ketones. And there are certain parts of the body, like the brain, muscles, they prefer to burn ketones. And so they are excited when those things come. Okay. One of the things that we'll talk about in future shows is this idea of fasting exercise or fasting workouts, right? Because when you are fasting, because the body, the muscles like ketones, you actually get a better workout when you're fasting and you do a workout. But we'll come and talk about that a little bit more as we get into the course of what we're doing for this year. All right, let's take a look and let's see. I saw a couple of other people pop in. Iron Bison says, you've done this before, LOL. Yes, I've done this before, but I'm getting better at beginning to predict what the ketones are going to be. I think that's what you were commenting about. But yes, definitely I've done this before. They said, what's the goal of your fast and how long? Yeah, so great question. Great question, Iron Bison. So I've been doing a 72-hour fast over the last, I guess it's been about 2.5, maybe 3 months now. So I've been doing a 72-hour fast. The first goal of our fast, right? So we are working on reversing diabetes. We're talking to people who have type 2 diabetes. How do we put your diabetes in remission? How do we get you off of some of the medication? Okay, so that's the audience that we're looking at. But as we talk to those folks, one of the things I want you to remember is that the things that we talk about for patients who have not patients, but patients, clients, viewers who have diabetes, adults with type 2 diabetes, all of the things that we're talking about also help for lots of other diseases. Okay, so if you're out there and you're watching this, you say, hey, well, I'm not diabetes, so I don't need to listen to this. No, the fasting works as well for coronary artery disease, polycystic ovarian syndrome, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, metabolic syndrome, right? All of those things get better when we fast. The goal is, how do we decrease our insulin in the body, and how do we reverse insulin resistance? That's another one I probably should put up there. So the goal ultimately is to use fasting as a way of minimizing our insulin level, reclaiming that healthy part of our body, reversing our insulin resistance, decreasing our blood sugar, getting off of diabetes medication, putting our diabetes in remission. And a side effect, y'all, right? A side effect, Iron Bison, a side effect of all that process is that all of those diseases that you saw listed and a lot of other diseases also get better. So that's the goal of the fast, right? And we've been challenging you for the last month in February, and to continue to work your way up so you can fast for a 24-hour period once a week. right? That's where we are right now. I've been doing an extended fast because there are some other health things that I need to do. Now, here's the thing, right? If you have, if you're out there, you've had a heart attack, you are significantly, and the phrase they use is morbidly obese. If you have had other significant health challenges, then you may need to do an extended fast, right? So the intermittent fasting that people do, the 24-hour fast, is an amazing way of getting into this process and to set yourself up for significant health benefits. But if we've got some significant things that are going on, you need to go and you need to have some surgery, and your doctor says to you, hey, we can't take you to surgery because your blood sugars are too high. We need to get those blood sugars under better control. Hey, we can't take you to surgery because your weight is too much and we need to get some weight off. If your doctor said to you, or you are out there and you say, hey, I've got polycystic ovarian syndrome, and me and my family, we're trying to conceive, we're trying to get pregnant, but we can't do it because the polycystic ovarian syndrome is interrupting that, right? You may need to do an extended fast. Okay, so remember, we tailor the fast to do the things that we need it to do. So hopefully that answers your question. Said truly pray. UC says very detailed and informative lab results. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad that you are getting benefit, and that's what we are doing here, right? So remember, let me see, which one can I pull up? This guy right here. So see down here at the bottom, we say we educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate by giving information. The shows that we do is with the idea of educating. We empower by giving tools. So one of the tools we've been using is this idea of fasting, right? We've talked about the HEAT model, and you saw that earlier, the HEAT model. One of the tools, well, what are the things that push us to eat? Right? What are the things that push us to eat? What are the triggers? Right? That's one of the models that we have. And so we educate, we empower by giving models or giving tools, and then we encourage. And encouragement comes from this community that we're building, right? Educating, empowering, and encouraging. And that is our triple E formula for success. Remember that? That's our triple E formula for success. And let me pop that up so that you guys can see. Right, we educate, we empower, and we encourage. Our triple E formula for success. And of course, the triggers that we have that push us towards eating, those are habits. We eat because of habits. We eat because of emotion. We eat because of access, and we eat because of taste. Awesome. All right. So glad that you are here. So what do we do? Right? So as you know, I always do my asks, and the asks are always, there are three as well, right? There are three of them. Number one, I want you to join us in the process of the challenges that we're doing. So we have worked our way up. We fasted for a 24-hour period. That was January. In February, we're fasting for a 24-hour period once a week. That was February. In this month, right, the goal for this month is, remember we talked about habits, right? So we're building habits. I want you to be looking to see, well, what are the habits that are pushing us towards eating? What are the things that are pushing us? What habits do we need to make? And actually, let me hop over, and I think I still have. Yeah, let's pop this one up, right? So habit triggers. What are the triggers? What are the habits that we have that trigger us that can interrupt our success, right? Habits. We have time, right? So it's 1 o'clock. It's 12 o'clock. We eat at that time. Hey, it's we go to the movies. We watch TV. We watch whatever, and we eat at that time. We play cards. We go bowling. We eat at that time. Location, right? So what are the locations that you have that can push you in the direction of eating or creating those, I want to say, let's use the word bad habits, right? So those habits that don't serve us. We have habits because of the preceding action. So what are the things that happen in your life on a continual basis that every time that thing happens, you find yourself, hey, I'm eating, or I'm doing some inappropriate behavior, some bad behavior. I'm building some habit that doesn't suit me. So every time I go to one of the meetings at work, if every time I go to a meeting, I end up going out and eating donuts, then guess what? That meeting is causing it. So now we need to figure out how do we deal with that. And then we eat or we create bad habits because of other people, family and friends, right? We tend to do what they do. So there may be times when we need to say to them, hey, I can't hang out with you right now, right? Right. So those are some of the habit triggers. And the things that push us to food, of course, are the things that we talked about in the HEAT model. So very great question for all of you that are out there. Okay, so back to the ask, right? So make sure that you are joining us on the challenges that we're doing, right? The challenge for this month is to figure out what are some of those habits that we need to redirect, habits that we need to break, and habits that we need to put some other habits in place. Okay. Number 2, show up on the show. When you see me go live, we do our show on Mondays, and we do a show on Mondays every Monday at 7 p.m. Central. Come on, hang out with us. Come in the chat, ask questions. Let people know, let our viewers know how you're doing. Because as you are going through your process, then you encourage other people, right? And we are all in this process together. And we all learn as we work together. And then finally, you know somebody who needs this information. So send them an invitation. Invite them to come on. Invite them to be here so that they can begin working to put their diabetes in remission. They can begin working on their chronic diseases. They can begin going that extra mile to create the life they've always wanted. Okay, that's what we do here, y'all. And we'll be back on Monday. We'll be back tomorrow. I said Monday, but we'll be back tomorrow, y'all, because we're going to do a check-in where we break the fast. And as I'm doing that, I'm trying to pull something up here. As we break the fast, you'll see the things that I'm eating. You'll see if you've been on one of our fasts before, you'll see how we break it. We'll talk about the foods that we're going to eat this time for breaking the fast, and show you all of that information. Okay. Let's see what else. So coming up, y'all, we've got our fast that we're going to break tomorrow. We've got on Monday, we're going to have our regular show at 7 p.m. Central Time. And then on Thursday, we're going to have our first community Zoom meeting. We're going to have our first community Zoom meeting, and let me grab the link. We're going to put the link in there in the chat. So one of the benefits for showing up on the live is you get to see the link, right? You get to copy the link. You get to go register for this Zoom that we're doing. You get to come on, and we get to talk to each other. Right now, you guys are typing in, but we get to talk to each other. We get to see each other's faces, and you can ask questions. If you have specific questions about your disease process, come on. You got a lab that you don't understand. Bring it on. We'll talk about it. You've got medication that you've got a question about. Come on, bring it on, and we will have a conversation about that as well. So let me go ahead. I'm going to pop this in the chat and this is the link that you would go to register for that Zoom. And if you're out there on Instagram, I'm going to put that there as well. Boom. I think I got everybody ready. There you go. Yeah. So you should see that in the in the chat. Okay. Awesome. Well, y'all, man, I'm happy that you're here. Happy that you guys stopped through, and hopefully you are with us. I should say hopefully. I know you're with us as we move into this year. That's what we're doing this year. Putting diabetes in remission, getting off of medication, improving these chronic illnesses that we have that are going on in our lives. And as always, this is Dr. Dwayne Wood, y'all. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health, take charge of your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new you. We'll see you tomorrow at our check-in, and then we'll see you on our show Monday at 7 p.m. Central. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you find yourself. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.